We had a great breakfast with the chamber this morning, so that signals football season is right around the corner. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of changes taking place within intercollegiate athletics, more so than any time in my career. But Texas Tech is positioned well. We're positioned extremely well with all the strengths of our university. 14th consecutive year that enrollment continues to grow. We're positioned well for whatever the future may hold. Obviously, things continue to evolve daily with the announcement from the Pac-12 today that they are not going to explore expansion at this time. The announcement of the alliance between the Pac-12, the Big Ten, and the ACC. And given all that, I still remain very bullish on what Texas Tech has to offer, and that our future ahead of us is going to be a great one. And we're excited to kick off the new football season next weekend in Houston, Texas. And know there'll be a great turnout there for the kickoff of this season. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions or address any topics that you would like.
Kirby, you said you remain bullish, but the SEC had a Big 12 teams that did not include Texas Tech, and the other three Power 5 conferences held discussions that did not include the Big 12. So you can be bullish, but who else do you feel like will be bullish on Texas Tech that will give you a landing spot?
Well, right now, our complete focus is to make the Big 12 conference as strong as it can possibly be. And I expect that Texas Tech will play a leadership role in that. We're going to continue to be a part of the Power 5 structure within college athletics. So we're going to continue to be proactive and tell our story. We're going to continue to be proactive within the Power 5 structure to make Big 12 conference right now as strong as it can be. And there's going to continue to be changes in the next 5 or 10 years. We're going to make sure that we're continue to compete at the national level. We invest into our programs at the top level and expect to continue to compete for championships.
Kirby, you talked about kicking off the football season. Once that happens, expansion, will that still be things that y'all will be thinking about during the season, or once the season starts, you kind of get into that mode and kind of more off-season stuff afterwards?
There's no more important topic that's in front of us right now, or will be in front of us once the season kicks off, and for the next couple of years, I would imagine. So it'll continue to be front and center for myself. I know President Skubinik as well, so it will continue to be top of the agenda during the football season for us.
And with all the conference discussions, can you describe any conversations with the governor's office from Texas Tech?
Yeah, we've been very fortunate to have the political support. Senator Cruz being here this evening at this kickoff event is terrific. We've got the opportunity to go down and meet with Governor Abbott yet again tomorrow afternoon. This will be our third or fourth opportunity to talk to him. We had a chance to visit with Lieutenant Governor Patrick last week. So they've all pledged their support and their commitment to stand behind Texas Tech University and their willingness to help Texas Tech University in the journey ahead. So we appreciate their willingness to engage and to support us, and feel really fortunate to have their leadership as we continue to navigate forward.
Talking about the discussion with the governor's office, what about with Bowles being the Big 12? Has that been a back and forth discussion that you all have, as you kind of mentioned, kind of figuring out where the Big 12 is right now and how to keep that going forward?
Yeah, we're obviously talking to Commissioner Bowlesby on a regular basis as a group of athletics directors. I'm serving on the expansion committee for the Big 12 conference, and we're active. We're meeting actually with the presidents early tomorrow morning, and we'll have some in-person meetings with the athletic directors next week with our media and television consultants. So we're continually talking to Commissioner Bowlesby as well as Oliver Luck. Y'all have seen that news, and feel very fortunate that we have Oliver engaged in our conversations and helping us navigate the waters ahead as well.
Kirby, do you have any sense of how long Texas and Oklahoma still plan to stay? Do you expect that for the next 2 or 3 years at this point?
I think all we can say is yes, they're contracted to be with us through the 24-25 academic year, and that's what we expect, and that's what we're planning on at this point.
So does that kind of give you the opportunity for fans? This is an emotional deal, but at the end of the day, this is business. Does that kind of just allow everybody to kind of kick it down the road a little bit and maybe let things kind of bake a little bit, so to speak?
Yeah, You heard Coach Wells say a couple of weeks ago, and you've seen us starting to promote it. Now it's personal, and I'm not sure that we've ever seen so much distrust and just turbulence within college athletics as we're seeing now, and it's really unfortunate. The lack of relationships and trust, and I think we've got to really reestablish some foundational aspects of college athletics as we move forward, because things are changing, and they're changing fast, and it's different. It's a different time. It's going to be different in the next 5 or 10 years. And remind me one more time, Chuck, my thoughts were going to just how fractured this industry has become.
Does it disappoint you?
Yeah, it disappoints you. Yeah, because you think you have trust and relationships with colleagues, and that trust has been broken, and without trust there's very little relationships, and relationships are critical when you get into situations like this.
Coach, you talked, Kirby, you talked about the Big 12 expansion committee. I don't know if that's been something that we know what it is, but just for some maybe who aren't aware, what is that?
It's an assignment of 2 athletic directors and 2 presidents that have been asked to serve as a subcommittee to begin and guide conversation as to how we can rebuild the Big 12 Conference to be as strong as possible, to continue to be a Power 5 athletic conference going forward. And it's been expanded now to include all the group of presidents. So, it's really to just look towards the future and talk about how we want to position ourselves and how we want to grow into the future.
You talk about now it's personal. With 2019, 2020, with the COVID year being held back with being able to have the amount of fans, how important is fan bases to show up and for all sports to show these other conferences that Texas Tech is having?
Thank you for that question, and you couldn't be more spot on. There's never been a more important time for the Red Raider Nation to support these student athletes and these teams. And let's call it what it is. It's football right now. We need to pack the Jones 6 times. That's what we ask of our fans, to fill Jones AT&T Stadium 6 times for us this year. Nothing will make a more profound impact or impression to the entire country as they see us on television, as they see us on highlights to show that the Jones is full. And this fan base, time and time again, continues to lift this athletics program, and I don't expect this to be any different.
You say nothing would make a more impact. Would wins make an additional impact?
That goes without saying. It's a very important year in a lot of ways, and these young men on this football team have been working extremely hard, and we've had a great summer. We've had a great fall camp, and it's time for Texas Tech to win in football and to take 2 steps forward. I'm confident that we're poised to do that.
Kirby, there's a report that as many as 15 schools have reached out to the Big 12 about possibly joining the conference. Not by name, obviously, but have you guys been in conversation with a number of schools about that?
I probably don't want to answer that at this time, other than saying there is a lot of interest in the Big 12 Conference. There's a lot of interest for people to be associated with us, to join with us. So we will take our time, be diligent, and make sure we make the right strategic decisions for the long-term future.
And
How many do you feel like is the correct number? And you said you'll take your time, but how soon do you feel like you have to have additional?
Yeah, that's a really good. It's a fair question. It's a good question, and it's a right question to ask. That's the same question that we're asking ourselves internally as we have conversation that advisors are helping us answer as we look to the future. So, Don, good question, and those are the exact questions that we're navigating and talking through at this time.
How has realignment affected recruiting so far?
What we continue to reiterate is that we're going to be a Power 5 conference, and we're not going to stop talking about being relevant nationally, competing for national championships, and we're going to continue that avenue. And we're going to continue to compete for conference championships, and make sure that we have an avenue to get into the national tournament. Our goal is to get into the NCAA tournament, to advance and get to the Final Four. We want to get back to Omaha. We want to get into the college football playoff conversation, and we're not going to quit talking about those aspirations. So the pathway being a Power 5 program is not going to change, and we're going to continue to have those opportunities for young people to come to Texas Tech and compete on the biggest stage.
And this seems like a much different situation. Like 11 years ago, it was all about the schools following with Texas, like staying with them. And now it's, like every school for themselves pretty much, since them and Oklahoma are the ones that left.
Well, again, you've got to have solidarity. You've got to have togetherness, and we've been unable to achieve that within the Big 12 Conference for a couple of decades now. That's not healthy, and that's what we've got to resolve, and we've got to resolve it very carefully as we look towards the future. But there's nothing more important than making sure you're together with like universities that want to be associated and compete and work together, compete against each other. That's what we'll work towards.
All right. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Kirby.
Thanks, Kirby.
Mac Rhodes and the presidents from the University of Kansas and Iowa State. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Kirby.